guy's gay. All right, everyone, welcome to MG, Masculine Geek number 256. And we have here the gentleman from the Leaf Cutters YouTube review show, and this is dealing with cigars. So, gentlemen from Leaf Cutters, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy. All
Thanks
right,
for having us.
absolutely. Thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and let me turn off this banner so we can see names. Let's go around the horn, starting with Gibbs, and just give a brief description or brief intro of yourself and how you got started with what you're doing.
As he said, I'm Gibbs. I'm the host of the Leaf Cutters. The Leaf Cutters actually came about because we're all buddies, and we all decided one day that, hey, we sit around and have all these conversations, smoking cigars, BSing with each other, and we think we're funny. So maybe somebody else might think we're funny. So we literally just started, doing a podcast.
All right, cool. Good, Cigar Andy, you're next.
I'm Andy. Gosh, man, Gibbs was my boss once upon a time, eons ago, and that's kind of how that friendship started. It was me, and then Gibbs, and then Professor Photosynthesis down there, followed by Robert, and much later Zach. But
Yeah.
we all enjoyed smoking cigars for a number of years together. That's kind of how I got to where we're at. It's the short version.
Nice. The too long didn't read. I like it. Robert, you're up next.
I'm Robert. I haven't been smoking very long, not as long as the other guys, but basically Ben is my brother-in-law, and he said, "Hey, you want to do a show?" I said, "Sure, why not?" And so here I am.
All right, cool. And Mr. Professor, how about yourself?
I met Ben and Andy, or Gibbs and Andy, through work 15 years ago. Well, 13 for Andy. And Andy was a weird one, mostly because Andy would stand outside. He'd have a big trench coat, and he'd be like, "What are you buying, stranger?" Like the Resident Evil guy. And he'd open up his jacket, and there'd be cigars just hanging. And at first, I was like, "Sir, I don't want to fall for your trickery because my lungs are pure as I smoke a cigarette." And then he talked me into it, and then we became close friends since.
Nice. And last but not least, Zach.
I joined the Leaf Cutters. I mean, we kind of founded the whole thing together, but I knew Andy and got introduced to Gibbs and Robert and Graham later, and we all just kind of decided to hang out and like Gibbs said, just record it because we were having a good time. We figured other people might enjoy it.
Okay, cool. I like it. Now, our origins. I know Andy through work. He was a third-party contractor, was helping me with a piece of software, migrating from one to the other. And then we just started talking. It was non-politically correct conversation, and we immediately hit it off and became fast friends. And so now every month, on usually a Wednesday or a Friday, we hang out and talk like we do now.
Check your math.
I don't know. How long ago was it?
No, the time frame's right. It's the every month thing. I don't know that we talk every month.
It's almost every month. I blame you because you keep canceling.
You canceled today. Don't look at me, man.
I totally did. I wound up I had a meeting and then I had to leave early. So it was fantastic. And then I met Zach and he reminded me of that because I thought he looked familiar, and it was Bob.
Yeah, we haven't talked in a while, but we did work together a while back. It's a similar type contract thing.
Exactly. We have to get you on the monthly call, the semi-monthly, the non-math monthly call as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be there.
Cool. All right. So what I want to do is we can play fast and loose like we normally do on these shows, but I do want to have a focus because I started smoking cigars probably back in 2015, 2016. So I'm relatively new myself. So I want to approach this from a beginner's standpoint. So all of you gentlemen, aside from myself and probably Robert and TJ, have cigars with you, correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. That makes sense. How, from a beginner's standpoint, how would you choose a cigar? How would you start how would you basically start if you wanted to get into cigars?
I can field that one.
Go for it, Gibbs.
Basically, this is the advice I give to anybody who's walking into a cigar shop for the first time. Whenever you're going to choose your first cigar, I usually recommend you go with a lighter wrapper. So it's usually a lighter color than this. This is pretty dark. And the three that come off the top of my head that I usually recommend are a nub, Connecticut, or Cameroon, whichever one. The Arturo Fuente short story, and the Perdomo champagne. All three of those are very good smokes. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or an advanced smoker, they're a good smoke.
Okay.
So from that point, just grab you one of those, try it out, see if you like it. If you like it and you want to continue to smoke, then move on to a darker wrapper.
Okay.
Try out different things and don't be afraid of trying different things.
Okay.
Because you're gonna find your taste profile, in the different colors, the different fillers, things like that, and you'll just progress naturally going that way. So, start light, then start going dark after you've gotten the light stuff.
Okay.
Where were you 20 years ago when I started smoking cigars? I mean, come on. Man.
Do you know how many years it took to get to that point to figure that out?
The Perdomo champagne, I still smoke those. I've been smoking for a couple of years. And what I like about it is it burns very slowly. It's one of those cigars where I can sit there for like an hour and a half, and it's got that neutral flavor, so it doesn't overwhelm if you want to have a whiskey or a strong drink with it. It's not going to ruin it's just not going to cause problems. It's kind of a neutral thing. Whereas if you're having a dark cigar, there's certain drinks that just don't go well with it.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons I recommend that right off the bat.
I gotta ask, what do you guys think of the Tabak Especial? It's kind of a flavored cigar.
The Drew Estates, yeah.
The Drew Estates.
You see, yeah, Grim's already shaking his head. This group doesn't really partake in the flavored cigars so much.
Okay.
Not that we would, completely turn anybody away from doing flavored cigars. To each their own. Cigars are definitely a individual's taste, and you'll find your taste once you get into them. But we kind of steer clear of the flavored ones. The only exception to that rule for me is I do like a sweet wrapper.
Yeah.
So not necessarily a flavor, but a sweet, like the Drew Estates Deadwood series. I love that entire series, and every single one of those are sweet.
Now, are you into cigars where, for example, I have a buddy who's a whiskey distiller, and he takes the chips from like barrels that he uses for his whiskey, and he puts them in the same, not directly same bag, but he puts it in the same area of a cigar, so that the cigar it infuses the whiskey smell into the cigar. Is that something you guys is that still considered flavored? Like where you dip one in rum or whiskey and then you let it dry out?
Go ahead.
That's more.
You want to build, yeah.
That's more of it's kind of like tequila. It's kind of like infusing. It's not as a flavored thing. A lot of the flavored cigars are either dipped or soaked. Some of that tobacco has been soaked or flavored in some way, and that's where that sweetness and flavor comes from.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention it because we were just talking about doing a show about that later, and trying out those infusions, tequila, whiskey. I really like the idea of the chips from the charred barrels. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
right?
It's a good idea.
One of the reasons, one of the advantages of people don't like flavored cigars or whatever, but in where I live, there's kind of this anti-smoking culture, and part of it is because people don't like the cigar smell. But I smoke pipe tobaccos as well. I found that nobody complains about the pipe tobacco, but they also don't complain about like the Tabak Especials when I'm out in a setting where it's outdoors and you're allowed to smoke, or it's at a distillery or something like that. Whereas if I smoke regular cigars, some people just don't. They make a scene about it. So That's why I kind of like the infused ones as well, because it gives off one thing. At least in my area, you have to worry about is like what are the people around you, going to think of the smell.
Yeah.
If you're in a state where it's much more tolerant or accepting of cigar or tobacco smoke, but,
A good compromise to that, like you were saying, with a flavored cigar, that does give off a little bit more pleasant smell. You can get a more of a aromatic cigar
yeah.
that smells more like a pipe tobacco that has that sweeter smell to it, and kind of skirt that issue right there, because most
What
people.
kind of, yeah, what kind of tobacco? What kind of cigar is like that?
Going back to my favorite, the Deadwood Drew Estates,
Okay.
they have a strong, almost pipe smell when you light those up.
Oh, cool.
You're gonna have to
And
order.
Cool.
they're
And
pretty good.
speaking of lighting up, so you gentlemen have all have your cigars handy.
Yes, sir.
What's the prevailing wisdom on how to light a cigar for a beginner? Is there a certain way like a standard way to do it, or is it just hey, just put some fire to the end to the end of this and just take some puffs? So what would you do?
I feel like I'm talking over. I'm so sorry.
No. Whoever wants to speak up, it's fine with us.
Toasting cigar is the best thing to do with a cigar. You get your best flavor out of it. You're not burning it, so you have burning it to ashes before you smoke it. So toasting the cigars is probably your best way. Now, as far as like if you're talking about a butane lighter, a jet lighter, a soft flame versus an actual jet flame, or if you're talking about using cedar spills or using a match. Sometimes if you use like a kitchen match, you can get like a little bit of a taste from that. But if you use like a regular cigarette match, a book of matches, something like that, you won't have
Get
any
that
taste from that. But
you won't get that sulfur taste, right?
correct, you
Yeah.
don't get the
Yeah.
sulfur taste in it. And usually with a match or a cedar spill, it's a ritual, like Andy likes to call it. It's a ritual that you're lighting your cigar. And doing it with a match or a cedar spill takes a little bit longer, but you get the burn that you want. You get the flavor, the full flavor out of the cigar. And you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. But of course, when you're outside, jet lighter works the best because wind, rain, whatever, you're probably gonna get it lit.
That's true. Okay.
Talk about cutting. There's 3 distinct cuts for a cigar. You've got your like your double guillotine, straight cut, that cuts off the cap of a good chunk of the cap of the cigar. So, gosh, I gotta get closer.
You can see it. Yeah.
You get the cap is from about here to the top, and you don't want to cut. If you cut all the way down to the bottom of the cap, you're liable to.
Now, how's that cap held on?
Vegetable glue.
Oh, okay.
Which is the right answer.
It sounded like it was a disappointing answer.
It's a disappointing. It's not
the spit of a beautiful Cuban lady.
There you go. That's how I like it.
Let's go with that. I like it.
But you cut about a third, maybe a third of the way down. If you're a novice, even there's days where I can't use a straight cut to save my life. I'll take my cigar and my cutter. I'll put the cutter on the table, put the cigar on the table, and you're almost always going to get a perfect cut that way.
Oh, okay.
But there's also the V cut, which usually is Zach's favorite.
I like V cuts. Yeah. Oh, you got it. Oh, there's a V cutter. Nice. Okay.
And that has a backstop to it. And most of the time, I'm going to use a punch, which thankfully it's handy on the bottom of my lighter tonight. But I'll use a punch just because I want to last. Usually when we're smoking and talking, I would prefer my cigar to last a little bit longer than it would with a straight cut. So I'll punch mine, and it just pokes a hole in the bottom of it enough for you to be able to get a draw out of it. But all of those different cuts provide a different draw and volume of smoke that you're gonna get into your mouth and be able to roll around your taste buds, and provide kind of a different flavor experience. So it really turns into, after a while, what experience do you prefer?
Okay.
Yeah, I about to say mouthfeel. It's really about mouthfeel.
Sometimes this cap of the cigar will also kind of dictate what you can and can't do. If it's a really shallow cap, a punch might be better than a straight cut or a V cut because you're less likely to break the edge of the cap.
Okay, almost like a torpedo too. You'd have to do a certain cut with the torpedo.
Yeah, straight cuts are
Yeah.
great for torpedoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Or as Gibbs learned in the forums the other day, if you have a chisel cut cigar, you can do a double punch, one on each side of the chisel.
Oh, okay.
Never even thought about that.
Sweet. Okay, so what about box press? The square cigars. What would you use for that?
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Just depends on what the cap looks like.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like going back to what, he was saying that if you punch box press because it has a really thin cap, that's probably your best way to go.
Gotcha. Okay. So, someone want to demonstrate the toasting technique?
Oh, I'm on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we?
Ready.
Jumped in there real quick.
I'm just happy I get to light my cigar. That's all I care about.
That's really what I was excited about. So, top of the flame.
It's like enough talking.
You're lightly going to toast the foot of the cigar.
You realize you're here to talk, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm not. You guys are here to talk.
Hey,
I already know what I think. I want to hear.
Hey,
what you
don't
guys
turn
think.
those reins over to us. I swear.
That's fine. Oh, there you go. There you go. So you take a few puffs. Do you go back if you see that the
If I see it's
foot is
uneven,
not-
I'll go back and touch it up.
Exactly. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Not in this light.
Yeah, it's really bright. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay. I feel left out right now.
Grab you a cigar.
Yeah, grab a cigar.
I don't have any left, and I really don't smoke inside.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And it's raining outside. Otherwise, I would have. It's warm enough to sit outside, aside from the rain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be doing that. We'll have you guys back on again, like in the spring, summertime, where we could all sit down and have cigars.
Yeah, I can smoke tobacco pipes in my house or my study, and it'll go away in a day or whatever. And it's kind of a sweet smell. Cigar smoke will be there for a long time. But yeah, if it wasn't pouring down right here, I'd probably be out on my porch with
Yeah.
you guys.
There you go.
Yeah, I was thinking
All right.
about that the other day. Like, I'm willing to smoke a pipe in my office or something inside my
Yeah.
house, but cigars is too much.
No, you gotta wonder, like back in the day when it was perfectly acceptable to smoke a cigar or a cigarette or a pipe in the house. Like, what did houses smell like? We're talking like 1930s, 1940s.
An ashtray.
An ashtray.
I
I've
remember.
been in those houses.
Yeah,
Robert and I can actually give you that answer. Yeah.
I grew up in one of those houses.
I'm
yeah.
fascinated, like how you just wonder, because there was rules about, like, making sure that you put your cigarette in the ashtray that they had, but there was no, I don't know. I just would have found it very fascinating to have that, because I've been in cigar lounges and it's such a strong smell.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of I was reading a book about medieval history and how most houses had a fire going constantly just because it was so hard to start one. So like I was saying how smoky smell was just prevalent everywhere. If you went back in that time period, everybody would smell like smoke because they just were constantly around fire. So I was thinking of the same thing, just like, yeah, man, I think that was one of the things that we'd be today overwhelmed by. And, I remember going to the Motel 6 when I was a kid, and we ended up, even the non-smoking rooms were smoking.
Sure.
Right.
The cigarette burns on the
Just because they changed the sign does not mean that the smoke-free room.
Exactly, and they really don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just assume it fell off.
The crazy one is when, there's that scene from Airplane, the movie comedy, where they go smoking or non-smoking, and they hand him a smoking ticket. But like the idea that you would have smoking and non-smoking sections of an airplane.
Yeah, that's humorous.
Well, it's like the Cracker Barrels. back even up to the 90s before the official smoking ban. They had separate sections for smoking and non-smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The day they
And
stopped.
You say Cracker Barrel, I'm thinking Waffle House. I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Waffle House
smoking
was just
cigars in
smoking.
Waffle House.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Shit, you're old.
Yeah.
The day they stopped letting us smoke in Waffle House was a sad day indeed.
Right.
Sad day for America.
Everything was better before the smoking ban. Yes.
They actually banned smoking in Waffle House in Georgia before they did other states in the area. And I went out of state for a field service trip, and I went to Waffle House and I saw the ashtray, and I like looked around like, oh my god, am I allowed to actually smoke in here?
Right.
I ended up asking the waitress, who looked at me like I was an absolute idiot, and I smoked. I smoked my cigar. It was great with my my eggs and toast.
Nice. Well, that brings me to another interesting part. What do you guys prefer to drink? Now, is it you guys like say it's preference, or do you have a certain ritual that you have certain drinks with your cigars?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
It's always a varied question.
It's literally, again, it's dealer's choice. It's user preference. But we are experimenting with different ones. Of course, your bourbons, your whiskeys. Those are excellent with most cigars. For me personally, though, I have found that Dr. Pepper is my choice.
No shit.
No shit.
Yeah.
And here's the reason. And Grim will back me up on this. 23 flavors.
23 flavors.
23
flavors. It goes with pretty much any cigar that you get, just because of those 23 flavors. It'll pair with it.
Wow.
I'll swear by that.
I'm gonna have to try that. Okay.
Really quickly, the cigar's 24.
But I like root beer as well with my cigar.
Root beer. Oh, okay.
Yeah, root beer.
beer.
Standard like Coca-Cola Classic is good.
Man.
Yeah. Root beer is good. Like I said, Dr. Pepper, but of course, whiskey goes great with cigars.
You ever go total geek and go Mountain Dew?
I have.
See, I had a Mountain Dew before this, and I think it wrecked my palate.
Was it Code Red or the standard Mountain Dew?
No, standard Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had a Mountain Dew in years.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I have to try that. Root beer and Dr. Pepper. Holy crap.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Also,
how about
I prefer like a real sugar version of those. I feel like the real sugar helps settle your stomach if you're sensitive to the tobacco or the nicotine.
That's a good point.
It can kind of level you out if you're starting to feel a little weird.
Okay. That makes sense.
I know Robert's Diet Dr. Pepper or Diet Coke.
Tonight is Diet Coke.
Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Okay.
But normally it's Diet Dr. Pepper.
All right. How about Coke Zero? Do you try that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not with a cigar, but I do like Coke Zero.
I prefer a Mexican Coke with like the real cane sugar, but I will,
rum and Coke. Rum and Coke.
Can't drink with fructose corn syrup anymore. Can't do it.
Right. It tears up my stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I mean,
I'm doing sweet tea tonight, so
yeah, I had a 7-Up.
Sweet tea.
Yeah, I had a 7-Up with cane sugar for the first time in years, and it was like, because I don't drink soda usually, and it's good, especially as a mixer. You don't do the cheap stuff.
No, you don't do good stuff.
You go big or you go home. You go home, you go big.
That's right.
Okay, fine, I'll leave. No,
Get out of here, Andy. God damn it. Why is your microphone up by your nose?
Stays out of the way of my freaking cigar.
Cigar.
All right, just checking. Just checking.
Oh,
There you
our
go.
friends over at Smoking Sounds, though, they say that a good cognac or a good brandy is really good with a cigar. Which
I can see that.
makes sense. It makes sense. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things that it's not my go-to. I don't usually drink cognac or brandy, but they said it does pair good with a cigar.
Okay.
Remind me to get the Courvoisier out later.
I know,
Ah,
right?
There you go. Yeah. Now, do you gentlemen like to have a meal with your cigars as well in your drinks, or just the drink and the cigar?
I prefer my meal beforehand.
Okay.
Beforehand.
In most cases, I've been to some fancy dinners where it's been dinner and a cigar, but it's usually not served. More buffet style type dinners,
Gotcha.
Go sit at the trough and smoke your cigar.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, Gibbs, you were talking about, especially for beginners, starting with a lighter wrapper cigar.
Mhm.
Do you find that the darker wrappers are good for an after dinner, like almost like a sherry and a cognac kind of ritual?
I usually give the people a warning if you are going with like a dark wrapper, especially a Maduro.
Mm.
You need to eat
Yeah.
before you smoke the cigar, or else you might be hurling.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely that way. I get violently nauseous if I don't. It's
I
not
used
good.
to when I was smoking cigars, like back, we're talking almost 20 years ago when I was first starting. I found that I couldn't smoke them and also drink at the same time because for whatever reason it would just get. I think it's because I probably just accidentally inhaled the smoke. That was kind of the.
That can happen.
Yeah, I did because I didn't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes. I didn't smoke pipe tobacco, which with pipes you don't inhale either. So I think I was just the idea of inhaling it into your mouth and then exhaling. It was just such a different concept.
Well, that's retrohaling for the cigar smoking, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is that
and
what that's
then
called? Retrohaling?
When you're through your nose, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but man,
Okay.
that you learned that lesson very early on because
Really
it's,
quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
you learned that lesson quick.
How many colors do you want to turn?
Right.
Yeah.
I have noticed if I drink a lot, meaning like more than 2 or 3 whiskeys, that's not actually. I'm like that. I would be sitting on the couch and that would be fine. But if I'm having a cigar too, I've noticed that I will potentially get a little woozy from the cigar if I've had that much, and I wonder if it has to do with blood flow in your stomach. And where like blood gets distributed in your body, because when you eat, the blood pools around your stomach to digest, and I think that slows down your nicotine intake. This may be bullshit. This is just an opinion. I'm definitely not a doctor, but I noticed recently, like I drank a little bit more than I normally
Dr.
would,
Zach.
and I got a little green.
No, I'm the same way. I really have to pace myself when I'm drinking.
Hey, there's a question from the panel.
There
We have a
is.
question from the panel.
There's a question
There's a
from the
panel?
You guys are a panel, as loosely described as that is. So go ahead and you want to read that, Gibbs? Go ahead.
Yeah. Who here thinks that Sapporo beer is from Japan? I've had Sapporo beer. I like Sapporo beer. Don't tell me it's not from Japan.
Don't ruin the dream.
Exactly.
It's probably bottled in Milwaukee, Who
Right.
knows?
Budweiser.
Oh,
Exactly. Budweiser
Right.
does it.
PBR? I mean, I know it's
Right.
imported. But
Canada.
You can't from
Interesting.
Canada
Imported to New York. Nice.
The
Interesting.
son of a bitch bastards.
Hey,
Damn
but I
Yankees.
can't fault the Canadians. The Canadians do make a good beer every once in a while.
I googled it because I'm a loser. I wanted to know.
Did you? I wanted
Yeah.
to know because I'm like, I do like Sapporo.
It is Japan, according to Google.
It is Japan?
It is Japan.
It's not Canada?
I don't know if they went there afterwards, but it was first brewed in Japan.
Well, yeah,
In
yeah. it was
Japan,
first
maybe
brewed in
it's
Japan.
maybe it's distributed through Canada.
Yeah, it could be like a
or-
bottling company like Coke
Yeah.
does,
Or like they have got a brewery there and that they distribute to North America from there.
That's true.
which is
And
probably
there's-
a lot more money conscious.
Yeah,
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That
shipping
makes
is very expensive in importing.
That's true.
And at first, I thought we were talking about that whiskey with the cherry blossom leaf, or not cherry blossom tree on the front of it, the little small bottle. I can't think what it is now.
Suntory?
Satori, yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Oh
love
yeah,
Suntory.
yeah. That's pretty close.
Suntory is good with a cigar.
Really? Okay.
It is.
Nice.
I can tell you today, Buffalo Trace is good with a cigar.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right. Now I want to get into. So if someone's is starting out and they want to build up a stock of cigars,
Don't
What
talk
are some-
to Andy.
Don't. All right. So Andy, you are not part of the panel right now. So as far as
going on mute.
take off that headset and get the hell out of here. So
Certain feels, eh?
I don't. Oh, hurt my feelings, eh? That's very hurtful,
Aw.
man. So what would you suggest? What would you suggest? Like, would you suggest like continuing to develop your palate by maybe trying a cigar singly, or going to a cigar lounge and then buying your humidor and learning the ways of that?
That's usually what I tell people to do. Go to the stores first. Have one at the lounge. Because believe it or not, sitting in a lounge, you'll learn a lot. Just talk to the people in the lounge. That's what they're there for. A lot of people do sitting there hanging out. They have a lot of knowledge when it comes to cigars and different things. So I always recommend that.
That makes sense.
But yes, money conscious wise, yeah, go to the shops, see if it's something you want to do, see if it's something you like. Then look into getting yourself a humidor and stockpiling with some stuff that you found that you've liked in the past. Because if you just go out and buy a whole bunch of cigars and throw it in a box, you may find out, a couple of months later, you don't like those cigars at all. So
That
find
makes
your
sense.
taste first before you start investing the money into a humidor and the different cigars.
Okay.
So-
now, what is the sweet spot for the humidity for a humidor?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Question for
At
debate
least
for sure.
another dang question.
Another good.
All right.
What's the sweet spot? So I'm sure there's
Okay,
some
so-
controversy here.
But yeah, there is a controversy. We actually got into it on the cigar boards about it. The standard temperature and humidity is 70-70. If you look on any documentation when it comes
Really?
to humidors, it's
Okay.
70 degrees at 70% humidity.
Mm.
All right. Even when you get a humidor box, it tells you in the documentation and they needs to be at 70.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Now we got into a debate on the boards. There's a guy that was arguing that you should have it set between 60 and 65 in the humidor because
Okay.
the oils mix better with the cigars. They're not dry, but they're not soft, anything like that. And I did a test. I did this test because he was really adamant about it. And I did find that I got more flavors out of my cigars by keeping it at between 60 and 65. I could tell a difference. And why am I the main person on the screen? This is scary. This is
You're in the
Keep going.
spotlight, my friend.
Keep going. Keep going.
I feel like
Keep
I've
going.
gone on a rant, and now I'm like, "Hey guys,
Keep
I'm
ranting.
the
Keep
expert
going.
on cigars."
Keep
It's a good thing
going.
I turned that filter on to make me look prettier.
There you go. Nice
I was
shirt.
about to say YouTube just broke.
YouTube did just break. If you got me
Nah,
on here, man.
I threw you in solo just for shits
too.
and giggles.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Not a problem.
Dr. Pepper, if you need a sponsor,
Wait, I want that as a sponsor. Hang on.
I want Dr. Pepper as a sponsor.
There we go.
But yeah, I think there was some validity to his argument, and I think for me in my situation, I'm not saying anybody else, just go throw the manual out the window. But between 60 and 65 is that sweet spot for the way I keep my humidor, and it tends to work out better.
Okay.
Hey, look, somebody agreed with me on the in the chat.
There you go. It won't happen again. Don't worry.
You're probably not.
Hey, about time that happens.
It's all
Stoke it up. Get a screenshot now. All right. So now, as far as storage is concerned, some cigars come in another wrapper, another leaf, and some come in the cellophane, as you know. Some don't. How do you store them? How do you prefer to store them? Do you like if they're in the cellophane, will you keep it in the cellophane, or will you take it out and let it commingle and fuck with the other cigars?
Oh, we're hitting all the controversial questions in the cigar world, aren't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mine depends on where I get mine at. I mean, most of mine stay in the. If they come with cellophane on them, I keep mine in there because to me it's keep my grubby fingers off across all the freaking cigars as I'm
And
digging
your
through them
greasy
anyways.
fingers all over
Right?
it. Yeah.
I like fried chicken.
Peanut butter and whatnot.
So most of mine, the cellophane stays on. I've got cigars in there that are 12, going on 13 years old. So, and they haven't been in the cellophane because, well, I don't think that they had them on there. So to me, it's it's a matter of preference. Some of the cigar boards will tell you, hey, you just use leave the cellophane on until you get home, because going back to the greasy fingers thing, when they're in the cigar shop and everybody else has touched those cigars.
Yeah,
When
it's
you get
disgusting.
home, take them out. It's gross. Technology's changed, and that cellophane has changed, maybe not remarkably in the last 25 years, but it's changed enough that your humidity is still going to get through the cellophane. They're still going to breathe. They're still going to do what cigars do when they're all in one box. If you don't want flavors mingling, stick them in different humidors. Going back to the whole 70-70 question, I think mine sits at 72%, but that's just because it stays full and where it sits.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's about 69, 70 usually.
I'd say that's about what mine is, like 68 to 70.
And if you're budget conscious, don't feel like you have to go buy a $300 humidor.
Top door for the win.
Okay.
I use a Pelican case for mine.
Now, oh, okay. I know you're talking about. Yeah. Now, do you guys use the little humidor? You soak up. You pour the distilled water in the sponge and place it back on the Velcro, or do you use the humidor packs?
I use the Bovita packs, the big ones.
The Bovitas, yeah.
Yeah, mine's the 320 gram for my 300 count humidor.
Okay.
It says 300 count. It won't hold 300 cigars.
300 very small cigars. Cigarellos, maybe.
I agree with that. Acids and gurkhas deserve to be in their own boxes.
Well, he brings up a good point. So if you have flavored cigars, you probably don't want those mingling with your regular cigars, because
that makes
cigars
sense.
just start tasting like vanilla or tasting like whatever flavor they are.
Java mint for the win.
That's
It would be Huh? What was that, Grim?
So any of your cigars that have been inside a White House intern, you want to have those separated in their own special place.
Smoked right away.
That depends if that's the aroma that you
gotta
want
get rid of the
spread.
evidence.
You want the vaginal fumes to really get in there. Yeah.
If that is the aroma you want to spread to the rest of your cigars, then maybe you just keep them all in the same place.
You know what? Yeah, we shouldn't shame. King Chick, go ahead. You do what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely don't shame. All right, so we have another question. Here's another question to panel.
Yeah.
What do you think about the canister humidor?
Like the Army cans?
Well, are the glass ones, because you also can do the glass canisters too. It's really whatever floats your boat, honestly. If the glass canisters will work fine, just throw a Bovita pack in it, whatever humidity you want to keep it at, should be fine. Just keep it away from a window. I'll give you that advice.
The
glass or metal, yeah.
I've seen people use old Army ammo cans. As long as you clean them out and line them with some cedar, they hold humidity really well. If you put a couple of packs in them as well.
Well,
I don't keep that many cigars.
That's almost like my my Pelican case. It doesn't hold any moisture on its own, so all the moisture is going to be held by your humidification system in your cigars. Anything else you put in there, I've got a couple of pieces of wood from a cigar box and a little bit of cedar to try to hold some of that. But if you have a wood or a porous humidor, you could potentially hold more moisture in there because the wood will absorb some, but also it will leak like a whiskey barrel. Some of that moisture will escape through the pores in the wood. Okay. So I think you're gonna have to pay attention to either of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned Pelican case. Is that for mainly travel?
It would be convenient for travel. I had the Pelican case. I used to keep a pistol in it, and I stopped keeping the pistol in there, and then my first humidor was a little travel humidor. It held 5 cigars, and I bought a sixth cigar, and I was like, I got to put this somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of there, so I used it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it works pretty well.
Gotcha.
It'll hold probably 40 or so cigars, 40 or 50.
Nice. All right. So you briefly mentioned cigar smoking as a ritual. Can you expound on that a little bit?
I use it. Yeah. To me, it's a ritual. I mean, it's a process of when I get ready to go have a cigar, I come out here, I spend the time to pick my cigar, depending on either my mood or what I'm looking to taste and kind of enjoy, and how much time that I actually have to enjoy it. But then I'll come out here, sit down, get all my stuff together, get my ashtray, my lighter, cut my cigar. Once I figure out if I'm going to punch it or cut it, sit down, cut my cigar, sit back, enjoy the aroma, before I light it. Take a couple of draws through it before I light, and then sit down and light my cigar.
Yeah.
And spend and we've been on for like 40 minutes or so, and I'm about halfway done with mine. So, for me, it's 45 minutes, anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half for a 5.5 inch 40 ring gauge, 45 ring gauge cigar.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like a meditation for me. Like it gives me some time to do the meditation or the ritual, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of unwind a little bit.
Which is why I do it every time I talk to Vince.
And with cigars,
with friends like you, who needs hemorrhoids?
Right.
Yeah.
Got a point.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
usually only drink when I'm talking to Vince, so it's same thing. Yeah.
Pretty standard, really.
Yes.
Direct correlation.
there is, yes. Cheers, gentlemen.
Now, I wish I had whiskey.
Dr. Pepper will do.
But with, like Andy's saying, with the ritual, I mean, cigars are meant to be enjoyed. They're not the quick nicotine injection like a cigarette is, right?
Yeah.
That's why you don't inhale it. It's a slower process. You want to enjoy the flavors of your cigar. You want to enjoy the experience you have with the cigar, because each one of them has their own flavor profile and everything like that. And you don't really enjoy it unless you slowly smoke it and taste the flavors and take your time with it. And just like you were saying with the lighter, it's not a quick done. No, you sit there and toast it. You take your time with it. You let it burn down a little bit and get it going real good before you take your first puff on it.
Okay. Now, getting to the flavor standards and flavors, how would you, if you're going to, like, when you do your review shows and you're sitting, you're in the live or the recorded meditation, as you were, you're all together, you're talking, and you're smoking on your cigars. What are the criteria that you use to evaluate a cigar?
Okay, I broke this down today. I'm going to refer back to my notes because I explained it better in my notes than I have it in my head.
All right.
There's basically from our rating system, it's built off of 5 different things that I've caught, and it's the draw of the cigar, the burn of the cigar, the taste of the cigar, the construction of the cigar, and how the cigar makes you feel.
Okay.
And to break that down a little bit more, when we're talking about the draw, we're talking about how easy is it to draw. How much smoke is coming into your mouth. Things like that is when we're talking about the draw. When we're talking about the burn, is it burning evenly? Is it canoeing? Is it tunneling?
What is canoeing?
All right. So when it's canoeing is when you'll see the ash like literally just burning one side of the cigar, and there's a whole bunch left on the bottom. It's like a canoe.
Yeah.
And then is it running? Running is when you have like a burn going down like one side of it. That's it, just a one side. And if you're talking about tunneling, you got a hole in your cigar that's burning, that you can actually physically see a hole in it. This one is not, so this one would be be pretty good.
Yeah, mine's pretty good too.
Yeah, this is not tunneling at all. It's great. Then the construction, how well is it wrapped? Do you have your little, I don't know if you can see this, but do you have your little individual tight little lines in there?
Yeah.
Showing that it was done correctly and wrapped well. Then of course taste. You have your different tastes that you get out of a cigar. Now, people on in the leaf cutters, everybody on here has different tastes.
Mm-hmm.
What one person might get out of the cigar, the other person may be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" and that happens a lot, especially with Zach. Zach can pick out some flavors in there. I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? This does not taste like cedar. This does not taste like." But
it tastes like shoe leather.
Yeah, exactly. Or leather. Sometimes he'll say leather, and I'm like, I don't get that either. But his flavor profile is completely different than my palate. I mean, Grim has described a cigar of like being an ox tongue licked across his face.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow,
it was that heavy.
Sounds like an experience, actually.
It was an experience, and it was a good description because it felt like it dragged across his face when he smoked the thing.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
So taste, and then feel. The feel for me is like sometimes cigars will leave a film in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll knock you down half a point just for that, because I do not like having a film left in my mouth after smoking a cigar. And also, how do you feel about the cigar? Are you enjoying it? Did you smoke it quickly because you were enjoying it? Is it slow because you hate the thing? And we're rated on feel as well.
Yeah.
So that I broke down how our rating system works, and it's usually a 1 to 5 rating. Our leafs, we do leafs.
Now, do you have a country of origin that you prefer as far as your cigars? I go back to the old stories about guys talking about Cuban cigars, and I'm in my mid-50s, so I'm old enough to have known guys who smoked Cuban cigars pre-Castro, and they swore up and down that they were good, but after the commies took over, you couldn't pay them to smoke one.
Yeah,
I've heard stories that, taking everything into consideration, that part of the mystique for Cubans was the fact that they were forbidden for a while, and that compared to a good Dominican or whatever, there's no difference. But as experts, I mean, what do you guys think about that? And do you actually have a country who, because of their climate, the soil composition, the way they take care and tend their fields, that they tend to produce what you would consider to be a quality product? And I'm sure you guys have some differing opinions, so if you guys would share some of that.
I agree. Well, I think the Cuban thing, I think we had this discussion on one of our shows. Cubans are kind of the forbidden fruit now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to a lot of their popularity, for at least for us wonderful Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think that before the embargo and before the communists took over, they had great cigars. They had, the fields were tended well.
Mm-hmm.
They've reached that point now where they're not. I find that most of the cigars I smoke are either coming from Nicaragua or the Dominican.
Okay.
Yeah, those would be
in fact,
my
the
two
one
top picks.
The one I'm smoking now is a Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
I think Zach,
those are my countries of origins that I really like.
Yeah, I think Zach pointed out the other day that even us as a group, we tend to lean toward more like in the Nicaraguans than say like Honduran.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just as a group. We in our ratings we have shown favorable more toward the Nicaraguan than we have the Honduran.
Okay. Nice.
But as far as do I go and look to see what the filler is before I buy it? No, because it's pretty and I like it.
Speaking of that, could you break down the construction of a cigar?
Sure.
We didn't touch on that.
Does anybody else want to do? Let me do it because I just did it.
Oh, since you just did it.
Okay, fine then. All right. So
do it.
Now, which ones are you? Are brother-in-laws again? And are you married to? Are you married to a set of sisters, or is someone married to your sister?
7 brides for 7 husbands.
Yeah,
right.
He's my brother-in-law by marriage. I'm married to his wife's sister.
Okay.
Do you live like in the house next door?
Yeah.
No, he's on my back porch.
Right. You think right
next. Right.
Okay, because I was just kind of curious because I've always gotten better with brother-in-laws who were married into the family than the guy whose sister I was having sex with. So I just was trying to clear that up. So I was assuming it was the one and not the other. So
yeah, it's by marriage. So bottom of the cigar where you light it, that's called the foot.
All right.
Up here at the top, that's called the cap. Right below the cap is the head of the cigar. And then, of course, you got the body. Your first initial wrapping is the wrapper. Then right below the wrapper, you have what they call a binder, which the binder actually holds all the filler, which is all this tobacco that's inside of it together. So you have the filler, then you have the binder, then you have the wrapper, then you have the cap, then your head, foot, and then you have the body.
Okay.
And usually I do explain that what we call the sweet spot in the cigar is usually about the middle of your cigar. That's where you get all your flavors. Like basically everything that cigar is supposed to have in it, you'll hit around about the middle of the cigar. You'll get the full flavor of that cigar and what it's supposed to taste like.
Gotcha.
Not that the foot is a crappy part of the cigar, not that the head is a crappy part of the cigar. It's just that's where everything starts blending together well once you start getting into the.
Is that due to the basically the fire, the heat?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like it's got a good burn at that point. About halfway through is like a good solid burn. Right now, where the flavor of cigar is that everything you described, the binder, the filler, the wrapper. Does the flavor of cigar come from the gestalt, the wholeness of the cigar, or does it come from the wrapper itself?
I want to say usually it's the wrapper, but sometimes they do soak it in something to get that flavor.
Okay.
But
well, you're talking about specifically like flavored cigars, like an acid or a Betty or something like that. But yeah, it's supposedly most of the flavor comes from the wrapper, but it is the sum of its parts. Like you can get something that has an entirely like Nicaraguan cigar, so all 3 parts of it are Nicaraguan, and it's going to taste a certain way. And if you have the same tobacco on 2 of those parts, and another part is San Andreas Mexican, it might taste different. San Andreas I would put up there with Nicaraguan. They, for some reason, that really hits perfect for me.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, we had a
we have another question.
I like question.
You can go and Andy, go ahead and read that.
I can read.
I know, right? Let's see it. Let's hear it.
Hooked on phonics. Hang on. What do you think of Hemingway's short story cigars? Blake says they seem to be his favorite, length and size.
The tip counts.
The tip counts. I like that. I haven't had a Hemingway in a while. I think I actually may have one in my humidor. It's shorter. For me, it's shorter than I prefer, and smaller ring gauge. But I generally, gear towards the 5.5 to 6 inch cigar with generally a 50 ring gauge, because I know that.
So when you say ring gauge,
ring gauge
number, what is that?
Yeah, the ring gauge is the whole number. That's the roundness, the It's the circumference of the cigar, and it's measured in 64ths of an inch.
Okay.
So if you get a 64 ring gauge cigar, you're smoking an inch.
So the girth, basically.
The girth.
The girth.
That's what you said.
Well, Robert recently just had a Hemingway. He had the Davidoff Churchill, which was a Hemingway. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. It was good smoke. It wasn't too big, wasn't too small. It was just something I grabbed and gave it a shot and tried it out and liked it.
Okay.
So
Cool.
it didn't leave you wanting more?
No, it was perfect for what I needed right there.
Well, I mean, it was a Davidoff, so it probably filled him up pretty good.
There you go. Davidoffs they're quite tasty.
They are. They're quite pricey too.
Oh my God, yeah. The was it the late hour? The
Yeah, late hours, a good one.
The late hours are like $600 a box.
Yeah.
They're worth it though. They're worth it.
Now, I've noticed in the last few years there's been kind of a renaissance for cigar and cigar smoking. What do you guys think kind of brought that about? And I mean, I can remember my maternal grandfather smoked cigars, but I mean, he had a box of Dutch Masters, and that's what he smoked after work. And I can still remember the smell of his house after he had one, and I don't remember it being unpleasant. I grew up in the 70s, so I remember when people smoked at home, and but it had a nice aroma. He also occasionally smoked a pipe. But obviously we've come a long way from picking up a box of Dutch Masters at the truck stop or the filling station on the way home from work and smoking one of those by virtue of the fact that on either side of me, either of the main streets to my north or to my south, are cigar bars there where you can go in and buy any number of cigars and have a drink while you're there and enjoying what you just purchased. So, and that's not something that I remember strongly from my youth. And it just seems to be something that's a lot more prominent now. So, what's your guys' take on what brought that about? And obviously, it's something that you guys partake in. So,
I blame the craft beer and the craft whiskey crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to have a cigar that matched their beer and craft whiskey.
Okay,
that's why we got 20,000 cigars now. That's my answer.
Okay.
Cigars had a rebirth back in the 90s. I mean, there's a huge boom in the mid to late 90s, and I started smoking cigars. It's funny you say Dutch Masters, because that was my first cigar, like 97, 98, and so that's what led to this hobby and I guess lifestyle. But as for the up and coming newer cigars and the new blends and it's no longer just H. Upmann and Punch and Fuente. It's Roma Craft. It's Caldwell. It's CAO's been around for a while too, though. Like I think it's the ability to. The farms have grown. Process has changed. The technology's changed along with with manufacturing, and granted all these are still made by hand, but farming has changed, and some of that technology has made this process from farm to table per se has changed enough that it's easier to get into and less challenging as it was back in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
Well, that and a lot of the houses that are building their own craft, handcrafted, smaller batch cigars are their boutique type cigars, right? They're being bought up by bigger companies.
Yes.
And since they're putting all these companies under one umbrella, they have now more resources than they know what to do with, so they can produce their stuff a lot quicker and get it out to the masses a lot quicker. Just by doing that, and that, you know, back in the day, you didn't do that. You didn't buy this small. You had your brand. That was it. You know, you like our stuff or you don't like our stuff. That's it. But they've branched out into buying the more boutique cigars and just blowing them up.
But I don't see the cigar crowd quite as filled with hipster douchebags as the craft beer crowd.
That's because they're all anti-smoking.
Official terminology, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a joke.
I mean, because most of the guys. Well, seriously, in that, you know, just thinking guys in my neighborhood just driving off, seeing a regular guy sitting out on his patio or in his backyard in a neighborhood having a cigar of an evening, or having, you know, some of his friends over, and you'll see like a group of 4 or 5 guys, you know, sitting there drinking bourbon or scotch or whiskey or something and smoking cigars around a fire pit or something like that. That seems to be something a lot more prevalent now. And it seems to be something that it's not just the guys that want to be Don Draper from Mad Men or, you know, Seattle, like I said, hipster douchebags with the man buns, you know, drinking their IPAs, you know, crap, you know, but just regular guys enjoying a cigar, enjoying a drink, and often enjoying it in the company of other men. And there's something about that, I think, that's a lot that harkens back to an older day, even from before I was born. And, you know,
I can actually address that, and especially when you mentioned around the fire, because human beings have thrived and lived off of story. That's how we passed along wisdom. That's how we passed along entertainment. That's how we kept the monsters at bay around the perimeter of the firelight, was story. And the cigar being as a ritual, coupled with the firelight, whether that's a fireplace or a campfire, or even just the interior light, can be the fireplace, as it were, the light, the fire. That speaks to a man's his inner masculinity, as it were. You know, that men bonded over that stuff, over story. So I think I think that's part of it.
And today we turn that into a podcast.
Exactly. This is the metaphorical fire pit.
Exactly.
For sure.
Green light and all.
Exactly. So, I'm trying to think of what else I want to ask. TJ or Robert, do you have any other questions? Because we're coming up on the hour mark.
No, they've answered all mine.
Yeah, seriously.
Just recreate new ones.
Yeah.
All right. So what is that?
Cigar pick.
All right. So what does that do aside from look like you're spearing a chicken?
Yeah, I definitely speared this chicken. Basically, when the cigar gets too hot with your fingers, get this. Especially if you're enjoying the cigar, and you don't want to put it down. You could take it a lot further, all the way to here, and you're not even, you're not burning your fingers anymore.
Oh, okay.
Andy has a really cool one. If he'll show you, if he has it.
Yeah, show us your.
Mine's a Plague Doctor.
Oh,
cool.
That's awesome.
Check
that out. That's pretty. Where'd you get that?
Got that stuff a guy off of Instagram. Is cigardagger.com as his web address.
Robert has a pretty cool one too.
Do you, Robert? What do you have? Let's see.
I golf.
No.
Oh, that's cool. All right, now do you use that also to help you with the draw as well?
Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
Not all the time. I don't need it very often, but I had one last week that had a pretty tight draw, and it's just as easy to take it and run it through the back end.
Okay. Yeah, I've encountered it's very rare, but a few, like you said, very, very rare. But a few cigars with the draw is just like trying to
drinking a Jamocha shake from Arby's,
from like McDonald's. Like there's St. Patrick's Day green shakes from McDonald's back in the day. Yeah, you're like you get a legitimate headache and you're ready to pass out as a kid.
Yep. And you can use the pick for that, or believe it or not, if you recut, sometimes that'll help with the draw too.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just recut it. You'll get all the tar that's built up off of it by recutting it.
Okay. And
that'll help with the draw as well.
All right. Now that reminds me of another question. So, and this is blasphemy. It's almost like when you open a bottle of wine, you have to finish it. You don't recork it. You don't put it in the refrigerator. Just you drink the bottle of wine with, whether if you're with somebody or you're by yourself, just drink the wine. So you have a cigar, and you want ostensibly you want to finish it. Now, say something gets in the way, it's family or you call from work or whatever. You put the cigar down and it goes out. What's the proper way to relight that and enjoy it again? Because it seems to me like when it gets cold, it's disgusting when you relight it.
Well, yeah.
There's a process. Gibbs, you gotta go get it.
That doesn't matter. I can. Or you can. Yeah, go ahead.
Most of the time, you're gonna even so if I were to just set this down and come back to it in about an hour, I don't leave my cigars sitting for more than at the most a couple of hours unattended.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. It's usually work or kids or family or whatever.
Yeah.
But you knock off the old ash. When you go to relight the cigar, instead of just drawing straight through, you're not going to go straight for the hole because you're going to get nothing but a bunch of crap.
All right.
But as you're lighting, you blow through the cigar.
Oh, okay.
To blow out some of that old ash and flavor.
Oh yeah, knock off any ash that's left.
Yeah, I recommend recutting it. Like
Recutting it, okay.
After you blow it out, like Andy's saying, get all the crap out. Recut the ash off. Just recut that part and then light it back up and keep going.
All right. So, what would be so for recutting the ash? You need the standard cutter. Yeah.
Yeah, you need guillotine cut or to double cut like that, just to knock that part off, and then relight it. And then
scissors.
I was about to ask you about the scissors. Yes.
Yes.
Those work really well for that because they're not limited to a specific ring gauge. You can get a bigger cigar and not worry about crushing it.
That's actually happening before with it, just in general with the ring gauge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a separate cutter for extra large ring gauge cigars.
Okay.
He also does brisks.
I also do brisks.
That's on the side. Yeah. That's side hustle.
I didn't realize you were a moil.
That's something to do on my free time.
That's funny. Fantastic. All right. So, starting off beginners, is there a cigar kit that you would suggest that you could purchase, or would you say like you have to do these things individually according to taste as far as your equipment is concerned?
As far as equipment's concerned, I think all the freebies I've gotten over the years, you walk in a cigar shop and buy a cigar, and they're going to ask, "Hey, do you need matches? Do you need a cutter?" Most cigar shops will hand you a single blade guillotine style cutter. That's it's cheap plastic, but it works for the first 10 cigars you're going to smoke.
There you go.
If that.
I don't think I bought I think my first cutter was a gift from my wife eons ago.
Okay.
And I still have it. But I wouldn't have bought it. I mean, I would have bought one, but I didn't need one until I had plastic ones all over the place from all the cigars I bought.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. There's been someone in the chat coming in and out. He says that it's okay back to make fun of Andy.
Thanks, Jeff.
One of your fans?
Yeah, it's one of the guys. I know you're not on X or Twitter, but we've got a small group of guys that we get together. I don't know if we've got together, but we talk cigars on the regular. It's kind of become a family group of people that I've talked to for years.
Okay.
They've been
That's
pretty
really cool.
The group. When we started doing the leaf cutter stuff and episodes that aren't posted, they've seen those because, hey, we want feedback, and Jay's cool about telling me what he really thinks.
let's be honest. We didn't want feedback. We needed feedback.
Right.
It's going to be negative.
Hey, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right.
Right.
That's another thing when it comes to YouTube stuff. If everyone's in your bubble and likes what you put out, it's another thing where you're not going to go anywhere. You almost need haters to help you with marketing. You really do.
No press
Yeah.
is bad.
So for travel, what do you guys travel with as far as cigars go, and what kind of kit do you have?
Ooh, man, I have a really old travel box. It's a back when Otterbox made travel humidors. They got out of that business in the early 2000s and sold
No,
it
they make
to.
shitty phone cases.
No, they make shitty phone cases. But I'll fill it up with. It depends on how long my trip is, but usually it's 10 to 12 cigars. I'll put in there, and on the top of that case, I'll carry a cutter and a lighter and my cigar pick, so that I've always got those things. Granted, I smoke in my car as long as the wife and kids aren't in there, and sometimes when they are, depending on the length of the road trip. But,
Gotcha.
That's what works for me.
And for me, I have a couple of almost like Zach's talking about. It look almost like a Pelican case, but it's built for cigars, hard plastic. You can throw a little either a Bovita pack in it, or it has a built-in humidification system you can actually put in it, and it works well. It protects your stuff, and I have a couple of those.
Yeah, that's what I used. The first travel humidor I got, I usually take that with. I don't take as many cigars as Andy because I know I'm not probably going to be able to smoke that many on a trip.
He shares.
But I usually take a couple of extra ones if I'm going to be in a place where I'm going to see a friend that I know might smoke a cigar with me, and then cutter, lighter, that stuff.
Gotcha.
If I'm on an airplane,
I was going to say, traveling by airplane, that's different. Yeah. You ever get any hassle for your cigar kit on an airplane?
I've not.
I have once.
Oh, Grim has a story.
No, not really a story. It was just they looked very disapprovingly, and they're like, "You can't take this with you." And I was like, "Okay." So
really,
well, I didn't think about it, but I did. I had a cutter, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't."
Oh, okay.
I would say cutters. Did they give you crap about matches too?
You know what? They didn't open that pouch.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
I was just like, they completely skipped over that. I guess I wasn't really that big of a security issue.
Different TSA departments in different airports are strange. I remember traveling with a safety razor, and when I left Philadelphia, my safety razor was, hey, that's fine. When I was coming back into Philadelphia, the safety razor was persona non grata. Like, make up your fucking mind.
Well, by that point, you're like, I already used it. I don't care.
Well, it wasn't a throwaway. It's like I didn't want them to take. So they basically made me stand there. They basically made me stand there and take the blade out.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that happened to me when I was visiting you, Vince.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they threw out the safety razors. Or so it was like, so there was the safety, razor, but then there was the blades. They took away the blades, but I got to keep the razor.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Zach doesn't use a razor.
Clearly.
How else do you get that sexy beard if you use a razor? Damn it!
Right.
In my neck.
Are you growing that out, or is that the length you want to keep it?
This is about the length I usually keep it.
Okay.
Occasionally it gets a little longer, a little shorter. Kind of depends on how good I am with the clippers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Very nice. Now you guys are all in generally the same state or adjoining states. I mean, other than the two brothers-in-law.
Now, me, Grim, and Robert are in Georgia. Zach and Andy are in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Okay. That part I knew. That part I kind of knew. Yeah. All right.
Same longitude.
Yeah, you guys are all rednecks.
You speak English so well for Southerners.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes. Question for Yank.
We've been practicing.
Yes. Yanks and rednecks. I love it.
I was
My
impressed
parents
you had
are from
all
the
your
north,
teeth.
so
Okay. Where are your parents from?
my dad's originally from New York, and my mom is
Oh,
from
okay.
Minnesota originally.
Oh,
So,
wow.
How did that happen?
They met in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Tennessee, which is where I'm
Gotcha.
from.
Oh, all right. I love stories like this. This is cool. Sweet. This has been a fantastic talk. Is there
Definitely.
anything you would offer? Any advice you would offer up to new cigar smokers?
Don't inhale.
There you go.
Don't inhale.
Don't
And
inhale.
subscribe to the Leaf Cutters.
Well,
Yes.
we're gonna get to that.
No,
We're getting to
subscribe
that.
to the Leaf
Shameless
Cutters.
plug. Shameless plug.
I got something for new guys.
There you go.
All right.
I would suggest going to your local shop and hanging out in the lounge, because it's kind of like this. 9 times out of 10, you end up talking to somebody that you would normally talk to,
Mm.
and because you share the bond of the cigar, you have something in common already. So you talk about cigars, and then you find out something interesting about them, and you talk about motorcycles and whiskey and beer and whatever, and it's just a good time. I always run into somebody that has a good story to share.
Okay.
It's a good time, and you get to talk about cigars, and you find out what they're smoking. You go, oh, maybe I'll try that next time.
Okay. There you go. Good recommendations. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Graham.
Okay.
I do say don't swing for the fences. Like, don't go buying a $50 cigar or anything else like that. You have no idea, like why it's a good cigar or anything else like that. You want something that you can start with and get acclimated to smoking and find your taste. You're never going to remember that $50 cigar. Years later, once you've had so many other different flavors or different types.
Gotcha.
And I do have a tip, not just a shameless plug.
Just a sip.
Since I am just a tip, I'm just going to give you just.
Well, the tip counts.
Since I'm at the very end of my cigar, don't go to the ashtray and stamp it out like you would a cigarette.
Mm.
Just place it in the cigar tray and let it burn itself out. This is definitely a couple of reasons you do this. Is because it doesn't stink as bad by stamping it out. Second of all, you're not treating it like a cigarette, which if you're in a cigar shop or anything like that, you stamp it out like that.
You just let it roll off the ash, right? Like you kind of like let it roll.
Yeah, you let the roll out. But I'm talking about whenever you put it out, just literally
okay.
just sit it in the tray.
Yeah.
Just set it down. Don't worry about
Gotcha.
stamping it out. Don't worry about putting it out. I mean, if you're outside, yeah, you might want to stamp it out so it doesn't catch anything on fire. But just set it in the tray and let it burn itself out. It, like I said, it stinks a lot less. You're not treating it like a cigarette, so it's kind of a faux pas in a cigar shop to sit there and stamp it out.
Gotcha.
So that's a good tip.
Yeah, it's a respect of the craft that
Exactly.
went into your cigar. You're
Okay.
enjoying it the entire process.
Gotcha. And we can always count on Mictobus to be heartwarming.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Bastard.
Yeah.
But there's your channel. All right, let me put it back up. It is the Leaf Cutters Reviews.
And what night are you guys usually on, or at least put out new episodes?
We put out new episodes. We put out sort of like our short versions of our full show once a week, and then the next week we'll put out the full show. So you're getting something every week.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. You're
Do
getting
you,
something
have
every
a
week.
do you have a regular evening that you post new content?
Saturdays usually we post new content.
Okay.
And then you'll catch it during the week on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok now, which we hate TikTok, but
Everybody does.
But believe it or not,
Bastards.
yeah, it's helping us out. People do
Yeah, I
watch
get
it.
it. I have a question too. Now you were you were interested in looking into StreamYard, does that mean? I mean, you can still record without going live on StreamYard, but are you going to you looking into StreamYard to actually go live like we're doing here with you now?
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, right now we use Riverside FM, which I enjoy. We like. There's quite a few different things we can do with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to see how their live is versus this. I've heard good things about StreamYard, especially from you, Vince. And a couple other people have said that it's a good platform as well. So we're not stuck to anything. We're gonna look into different things and see what works best for us. But right now Riverside's doing it. But I kind of like this setup right here where you can have the bar at the bottom and backgrounds and stuff like that. It looks aesthetically cool. And man, you put me on spotlight again.
It's the money shot.
Thank God for filters. That's all I'm
Right in
saying.
the fucking eye.
He's got glasses. It's even better.
That's
Yeah, right.
Watch the traffic driving behind you as well. The red lights
Exactly.
going off in the distance.
Yeah.
I gotta
No,
go,
I
go
do
answer Blake's
enjoy.
question.
Oh yeah.
Where does Virginia fall on the whole southern, northern southern thing? Man, it's below the Mason-Dixon line. It's still a southern state, man.
Everything below the Mason-Dixon line is southern. Yeah.
And Jay's right. It's just east of West Virginia.
Yeah. So, then you also have Pennsylvania. So
Yeah.
you got that.
Pennsylvania.
I like that one.
You've got
Well,
that one.
I live in Indiana, which is practically a southern state up north. So in a lot of ways,
You were just misplaced.
Indiana was settled from south to north. It wasn't settled from east to west. So we had
Interesting.
people from Tennessee and Kentucky coming up across the Ohio River, which we joke about that the people smart enough to make it across the Ohio River out of Kentucky became Hoosiers, and the ones that were too dumb to cross the rivers were still Kentuckians. But anyway, that's
No, it's funny you say that, Blake. I remarked upon this on one of our last streams. There are people that live in Delaware and southern New Jersey, like the Violin area, that have a southern accent, and they're not. I talked to them like, "Are you from?" No, like what? Why?
Interesting.
Stop that.
Interesting.
That's because they got
Dumbass.
them moonshine steels and they hunt them
Moonshine
deers.
there.
And that's what happened.
Fucking
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton over here. French fried potatoes,
Yep.
It ain't got no gas in it.
We were talking about accents earlier, and my southern accent becomes worse, more prominent, depending on who I'm hanging out with.
Really?
If I'm hanging out with a bunch of people who are not from the South, it seems to become more southern.
I do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you duplicate your southern accent now?
No, I have no control.
It has to be with the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't southern on command.
I
That's
mean,
a
I
good-
can, but why would I?
I mean, but
Yeah.
it sounds like a fake accent like that.
It does.
It does. But
I'm actually surprised talking about location, and TJ has yet to pipe up to tell us he's from the Pacific Northwest.
well, funny thing,
It's like
when
the worst state in the fucking union.
when I went to the specific work, that's when my
Union?
southern accent did come out, especially traveling out west. They're
Mhm.
like, "Where's your accent?" And I'm like, "Georgia." I wasn't
Right.
aware I had an accent.
Mhm. It's just a touch,
Yeah.
No, McDibus is right. There are regional accents. Like North Jersey has definitely a Brooklyn, like Hoboken area, and Secaucus has a Brooklyn accent, a holdover from obviously New York, and South Jersey has certain mannerisms that we have in our speech, especially Pineys.
Mhm.
So
There's a little bit of that in Tennessee from
Seattle.
the east to west.
I don't disagree, man.
No, TJ. He lives there, but he's there by
Hey,
tolerance.
I'm like Wolverines and Red Dawn. I'm in the like occupied territory.
You're like
That you guys can enjoy free.
you're part of
America.
TJ. You're part of a resistance in an army you created.
Yeah.
I'm part of the. I am the resistance.
I love
Yes.
it.
I am.
You and your golden retriver. That's it.
Well, it's not a golden retriever anymore. It's what is your breed, TJ? The dog you
Border
have?
collie.
a border
A what?
collie. Okay. Yeah.
Border collie.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
those are smart.
Like borders, like what we should have in this country. A border.
Exactly.
Right. Border
just-
collies is what everyone needs in this country.
Yes,
what
especially
you're
down
getting at?
south. The
It's the whole
Texas
line of
border.
them, right?
Down by the Texas border, I think. Oh
Wait,
my
wait.
god!
Would that be a
you're in
deterrent
Seattle?
though?
Don't you have to worry about the Canadians?
Well, fuck them.
The Canadians don't care about coming to the
Well,
country
that'd be
illegally.
nice. Tell them
No,
to go back.
that's
Tell them to
they
go
really
back, and they're
don't.
like, "I'll go back, eh?"
Well,
All right.
we'll
I'll
just
go back to my healthcare, eh?
we'll
They
just
only
we'll just
they
throw
only
up some
say
Tim
they
Hortons
only
signs. They'll congregate there, and we can take them out from above.
There you go. Canada is like a loft above a really cool party.
I was trying to think of that line. I've heard that more than once.
It's not mine, but it's
No.
a very old line, like 20, 30 years old. I think either Dennis Miller or George Carlin used it.
Yeah,
Robin Williams. Robin
Robin
Williams.
Williams?
Williams
Okay.
definitely used it.
It was
Yeah.
close. It was around that era, yeah.
I was at a IT conference back in like 2014 or something like that, and it was at a boot camp, and I was hanging out with some guys that were there, and we found out that one of them was Canadian,
Mhm.
and I started referring to him as being from America's Hat, and he's like, he didn't take that very kindly, and he said, "It's all America. This is just North America."
Yeah.
I'm like, but you're like not the real America.
yeah.
That's funny. No, the when I talk to some Canadians, when they do the A, that's only with people they're comfortable with when they do it with Americans.
Mhm.
They don't do that with normal people. With tourists, they won't do that.
Yeah, they know we find it funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
They
You got to
know we're
fill
gonna
up
laugh
them
at
Tim
them.
Hortons somehow.
Yeah.
That's right. Take off, you hosers. Good movie. Strange Brew.
hmm
Oh my god, that's cool. So, what do you guys, as far as like the leaf cutter reviews? What are your plans for the next year?
We have
Uh,
plans.
Smoke
You
some
guys,
cigars.
you got some
Cigars?
kind of shit going on over there.
I thought it was all smoked cigars and bullshit, but you know.
Yeah.
No, I don't get me wrong, I get that, but especially when you're on YouTube, you have to some kind of like, even if it's an amorphous plan.
Well, I mean, from the beginning, we started off the leaf cutters to help the layman man get into it and be more comfortable about it. Because you watch a lot of the cigar review shows and cigar tip shows. It's coming from people who are self-proclaimed aficionados, or there
Experts.
are people out there that are experts at it.
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, we like smoking cigars. We like talking shit. But we also like to give you the tips and tricks that we've learned over the years of doing this. And doing it in more of a safe way, more of a there's
Friendly?
more of a friendly way, more of a hey, this
Down
is
to
your
earth.
buddy teaching you how to do this,
Yeah, down to earth, kind of like just camaraderie is. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like your buddy, showing you, hey, this is a good way to do this, and we drop helpful hints throughout our shows, and it's more natural than anything, because Robert, like he's self-proclaimed that he hasn't been in this long, so he has a lot of questions,
hmm
and we answer his questions, and we give him tips, and it just is. It's kind of a natural progression for us. So every
Sometimes
episode,
we even answer the correct answer to those questions.
correct. Sometimes we
we're
get it
just
right.
making it up.
You guys are about 7 out of 10. Yeah. Okay.
60% of the time, we're right every time.
And the tip counts.
The
That's
tip
right.
counts.
That's right.
Just the tip.
But yeah, every episode we throw a tip in there for you.
Okay.
So you do learn something hopefully from every episode, and then the rest of
Absolutely.
it we just BS.
No, you guys are fun. I like watching your stuff. Now, who's doing the thumbnails for the YouTube Shorts and the whatnot and in the Instagram?
That's me, and I'm horrible at it. I know.
No, they're really good. I like them.
Okay. Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
they're
You like
cool.
our little animated ants?
I do. Yeah, that's cool.
Don't build him up. We'll never get him back to the door.
I mean, I'm already having a hard time through the door anyway, and that's just because I eat too much red meat. But
Well, I'll probably wind up hitting them up for tips and tricks on the video stuff. So there you go.
absolutely, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like your backgrounds and stuff. You're Your
thank you.
ladies are very, very intriguing. I like those.
Absolutely. Well, that's a
Intriguing,
Robert.
he says.
That is right. That is a Robert E. McGinnis. Intriguing. That is an old Robert E. McGinnis poster or a book cover. The book was called Brooks Wilson, and that was published in 1965.
Mhm.
And it
The
sums up
year
Masculine
Vince
Geek
was born.
nicely. What? No,
The
not
year-
it, well. 5 years before I was born. I was
Mhm.
born in
Oh,
1970.
man.
I am indeed an old man.
So we're
Bastards.
getting you denture cream for your birthday. Gotcha.
Absolutely. Got to clear off those cigar stains.
Right.
That's a good thing too. Now, as far as like hygiene and kissing your wife, your lover, your armpit, whatever you got going there, like how do you guys get
You
this?
gotta
this
watch out for your boyfriend.
how do you, well, that would be Aaron Clary. How do you
Yeah.
get the stench of the cigar, maybe the film as it were? You said Gibbs that you don't like the film. How do you get that out of your mouth? I mean, what did you brush your teeth? Well, I mean,
Brush your teeth, mouthwash. Those are really good to get it get that film out of your mouth.
Alright.
Find someone who doesn't hate the way cigar breath smells.
there you
Yeah.
go.
find
Well,
somebody-
that too.
Yeah, that's
That
big.
too.
I got you on that one.
Mhm.
There have been
That's
nights I had to
true.
sleep on the couch because I smoked a Romeo and Juliet. My wife's like, "Nope."
Mhm.
Yeah, I've never had that problem.
Yeah, I have. So
Like,
speaking from experience.
I usually wear when I'm smoking. Harking back to old smoking habits. Smoking jackets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll always have like an outer cover, like a jacket.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that at least my clothes don't totally smell. But
That's what I do too. Yeah.
it doesn't help the fact that usually I'll ash on my pants, or I won't get to the ashtray and
Right in the swimsuit area.
right in the
Mhm.
swimsuit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you the hole in my pants from a cigar.
Oh man.
Yep.
It's
It's
not in a
happening.
good area.
No, it's in a decent area. I'm just not standing up because I'm not showing what kind of pants I have on.
Yeah, we don't see that.
Wait, I thought pants were
Even if you're wearing pants,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll never tell.
podcasters don't wear pants. Don't you know that?
Right.
That's how the free
YouTubers
flow keeps going.
Exactly. Air conditioning. Cool. So anything final you want to let everyone know about cigar smoking or paraphernalia or say cigar jackets, smoking jackets or whatnot?
Oh man, I don't
Any
I
final
don't have a
thoughts?
brand for cigar jackets, but as for paraphernalia, always if you're gonna get into it, I suggest a good cutter and a good lighter, and usually more than one of each, because you're just like anything else. You're just like reading glasses. You're gonna put it down and forget where the hell you put it.
Mhm.
Mm.
That's to me that's important. Is I've got just in my lounge out here, I've got 2 cutters and half a dozen lighters.
Okay.
So having a good quality lighter and a good cutter are important.
Okay.
Yeah, quality does not mean expensive though.
Right.
I mean, a $10 jet lighter from Amazon will. My $10 jet lighter finally broke after like 7 or 8 years. Some of them don't last that long, but it doesn't have. You don't have to go buy a $60 lighter and a $60 cigar cutter. You can get a decent one from like Calibre or Cigar or something that will hold up and have a warranty that'll get fixed if it breaks. Yep. And it doesn't have to be
Zycar's got a lifetime on almost.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That
Oh, that's
does.
really cool.
Firebird does too.
Yep.
I think Calibre is like 2 or 3 years, but that's
really good.
reasonable.
Mhm.
I've not had to have one serviced, but
Hey,
I understand it's not too bad.
There's a question for you, Zach.
Yeah, Zach. This is directed to you, Zach.
Yeah, that rinse with scotch.
Yes.
I happen to know that person pretty well.
I do too.
That's my wife.
Oh, okay. Well, no.
Yeah.
The question with facial hair is it rinse with scotch?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. All
I
right. So
didn't
let's
see the
say
question about facial
Anything to
hair.
get rid of the smell.
yeah, smoke and facial hair. Any tips or recommended products?
Oh, I go back to have a partner who doesn't hate the cigar smell.
Okay. Well,
But-
failing that, what's Plan B?
Just wash your face.
Okay. Soap
Yeah.
and water.
Soap,
Wash your
soap
face with
water.
water.
For those of us with beards, beard oil and
Yeah, beard
all
oils do
the
cover
regular
that
stuff.
pretty
Yeah.
Okay. What's your go-to beard oil then?
Yes, I-
Right now I am using Johnny
nice.
Slicks beard oil.
Okay.
They've also they're a hair product company that's not got garbage in it, so I started using that, and smells pretty good. Doesn't leave your beard all greasy.
Mhm.
Not sponsored, just pretty good product.
Okay.
And mine is whatever my wife bought me, and it's sitting up on my counter because she doesn't like the smell of cigar smoke.
Yeah, mine's the sample that I got in the mail 2 weeks ago.
There you go.
Trying
Nice.
different stuff, man.
No,
I don't have
I
that
get it.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. You're clean shaven. You're fine. Yeah, you're like fuck everybody else. How about you, Professor?
Whatever my wife buys me, I'm not gonna
Okay.
like. You know, I will smell however she wants me to smell, just as long as she stays happy.
Fair enough.
Happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
For sure.
That's a discussion for another time.
Oh yeah.
A whole different discussion. Of this.
That's yeah. Vince
in
and I
our
can open a can of
households.
worms without.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you guys follow my Instagram, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I know it. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that procured, that well procured Instagram.
Well curated, yes.
Yeah.
indeed.
That word.
Yeah.
English is hard.
Indeed. All right. We'd say brute got it.
Yeah.
Make the best. Brute. Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Yeah.
Aqua
Spice.
Velva.
Aqua Velva.
Some
Holy
high
shit.
karate.
High karate.
Oh
Axe.
my god.
I
Man,
generally
that guy
go
was
for
old. I'm
things
even
that
older
have
than
like
Vince.
ingredients that I understand. Anything that got a chemical name, I avoid that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to wrap up for now. It's been a pleasure meeting you all and discussing cigars and everything else. This has been fun. I love doing these kind of chats and talks. So it's been a pleasure having you all on. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast.
Absolutely. I do want to have you back on when TJ and Robert and I can enjoy a cigar outside when it's warmer.
Mhm.
And so you're
Hey, and
obviously
then we can
welcome back.
coordinate, and then we can all review one.
Exactly.
we
I do
go.
like your review system. Could you very quickly go through your review system that you do? The
The
criteria.
5 points or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
5 points.
Yeah, sure. Based on draw, it's based on taste, it's based on construction, and then it's based on feel, and there was one more. It just went right out of my head because you had to ask me about it.
I know, right? You had
But-
notes though.
Was it enjoyability or something about?
Yeah.
Feel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Feel. Feel is the last one that we usually judge on.
Feel.
And we usually do, like I said, a 5-leaf system, 1 to 5.
Okay. Have you ever had a 1 or a 2?
We have had a 2, thanks to
Okay,
Grim.
really? It's all your fault.
Well, we did a grab bag episode where we basically bring our own cigar or whatever, and I brought a It's a Boy from
Oh
some cigar
God, I've seen this.
before,
Yeah.
and I had left it out in the wild, so it wasn't even like it crackled when I cut it, so it was not in good shape at all. Like it was very poorly held up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, one last quick question: how do you guys determine what you're going to? You all take turns with saying, "Hey, we're going to smoke this for this episode."
Ooh.
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's my fault.
I touched a nerve.
It is your fault a little bit. In a good way, though.
Yeah, I've been getting a monthly box from it was Cigar Shenanigans up in Conway, and Penny's been really good to us and has provided us with her monthly sampler box.
Okay,
Mhm.
It's
How
5
much is that?
cigars. It's $35.
What?
$35 a month for
That's
5
really good.
cigars.
That's good.
And so
you're probably getting $50 or $60 for the cigars.
You're getting $50 for the cigars.
Yeah, that's like
easily.
half off.
Yeah.
She sends us or pings me and goes, we talked to her. She did the first 5 cigars, and I reached out to her and said, "Hey, you want to do another box for us?" She goes, "Sure." So $35 for the 5 of us to have 5, the same box, 5 cigars. We'll go through. We got it 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And as we go through the list, we'll start at the top and go. All right, who wants? We've got these 5 cigars. What are we smoking next?
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Review 'em.
And grab bags. Grab bags every so many episodes or whatever's in your own humidor.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Or whatever you go out and get for the episode.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Robert, TJ, any last questions?
No. Looking forward to having you guys come back on though. This was real enjoyable.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
We got everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us. We have some shout outs to you guys for being on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks for having
that.
us.
Yep.
And a shout out to the wife that likes the taste of scotch. Well done. Well done, sir.
She likes good scotch. It's a win.
Yes.
There you go. Is that Deborah Gibson?
That's my wife.
So apparently you have to strip your clothes after you smoke for your partner, and the guys must have to add a smooch rating from the spouses. Wow. Okay.
Not every house is the same.
Kisses, like 1 to 5 kisses. You only get 1.
Am I kissable after I smoke the cigar? So that's what she
That might be like a post rating that we need to add. It's like,
exactly.
Right?
Did your
There
wife
you go.
kiss you after smoking this?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Did Gibbs have to sleep on the couch because it was
Exactly.
terrible?
How many couch ratings does this one
So
take?
that would be 1 couch,
1 couch and 1 kiss.
and that's all you need. If you get a kiss, that's already above a 1.
That's funny. Jesus. All right. So where I did post the
link.
your YouTube channel. Do you have individual YouTube channels you want to plug now, or you just have the main one?
Just the main one.
Just the main
All
one.
right.
You can
So
go that for all of our videos are on YouTube. For the socials, we do have a lot of other stuff like you can see, like the graphics Vince was talking about. You can see all those.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's on Facebook and Instagram. We can see all that, and of course, like I said, TikTok.
Okay.
But all the videos are definitely on YouTube. Everything that gets uploaded video-wise is there.
Okay, and that's the Leaf Cutters reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Good.
Because the damn ants took the other ones.
That's right. Those bastards.
Stupid
I
ants.
know. Stupid ants. There's always stupid ants. So I know you picked up a few subscribers from this, which is good. Anyone who's watching in the replay, please go subscribe to these fine gentlemen. You will not be disappointed. It's a fun time. If you enjoyed the show, you're going to enjoy the reviews. I guarantee it. All right, gentlemen. TJ, as usual, take us out.
All right, guys, you know the drill. Keep the fires burning, keep the lead shooting down range, keep the wine flowing, don't take any wooden nickels, don't drink all the rum, Aaron Clary, and tune into next week's episode.
Indeed. Until next time. Aaron Clary's gay.